I just have to remember, like, everything happens for a reason, you know, whether that is a failure or a success or whatever it is. Everything happens for a reason and will always lead you into the direction that you're meant to go in.
What's up, guys? I'm Austin.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Sean. Welcome to the Three Cheese Podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Three Cheese Podcast. We're taking a deep dive with entrepreneurs into the bold and risky leaps of faith that were pivotal on their journeys to where they are today. Today's guest is Rachel Deeb, the multifaceted artist who turned her passions into a career, from tour photography, graphic design, fashion, music videos, mural paintings, and so much more. In this episode, you'll hear about how she broke into each of those specific markets, the importance of not spreading yourself too thin, and how she learned the most valuable skill of when to say no. Please rate, review, and subscribe and enjoy this episode of the Three Cheese Podcast. All right, Rachel, tell us a little bit about kind of who you are and just kind of give us a basic description of kind of your business journey or entrepreneurial journey.
Okay, my name is Rachel, and I am a photographer, videographer, mural artist, and creative director in Nashville.
Have you always been that, or like did you start off doing something else? Where did this kind of passion to get into all that start?
Okay, so when I came to Nashville, I was a graphic designer. That's what I studied in college. That's what I thought I wanted to be. And then I got fired from my first job, which allowed me to step into the photography world. And I didn't know I was good at it.
You're killing it.
I was good at it.
Rachel's worked with the names of Carly Pierce, Maren Morris, correct?
Yes.
Several
Billie
others.
Eilish?
Have you really?
I have. You got to throw that one in there.
That's
Don't forget.
awesome.
All right, no. Let's hear it from you. Who have you worked with?
Okay.
Like name
What
the
are
clients.
your top five?
My top five are Billie Eilish, Brett Eldridge, Maren Morris, Carly Pierce, and Chris Lane. He's cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool guy.
You've worked with them under the capacity of what? The creative photo? Because I also saw something about this denim line. Like what?
Oh, yeah, that's a
what
whole
businesses?
other situation.
Yeah.
So for all of them, I've been on tour with, and it was actually funny when I first met Billie. I didn't really vibe with her, so they asked me to go on tour, and I said no, and I didn't know who she was, and now I'm like, dang it.
Wow.
Dang it.
You're telling me you got asked to go on tour with Billie Eilish, and you
And
said,
I said no. I was like, nah.
Wow. That's all right. She's not like
She's
the
not, like,
biggest.
massive.
She's close.
Yeah. No one knows her.
Right.
My work wouldn't go anywhere.
All right, well, let's focus on this. So you tell me about this first business that you started at and then getting fired. Like, tell me about that circumstance.
Okay. So I was an intern in Nashville as a graphic designer, loved Nashville, moved here for that job, and didn't get that job. They were like, come, let me know when you're back, and we'll set you up. And I was like, okay, I'm back. And they're like, we're booked. Like, all right, we can't. And I was like, okay, no problem. Try back in a year. So anyways, I started working for this really small company in Gallatin, and everyone there was probably over the age of 45, maybe over the age of 50.
Yeah.
And I was doing graphic design and making pamphlets for fundraisers that they take to schools.
What was this
It's
company
so
called?
random.
What was it called?
Little Lambs. I literally also made
Little
cookies.
Lambs.
Like part of my job, I made cookies.
Oh,
This is so weird.
Did you make
So weird.
lamb cookies?
No, I had to make cookies in the back room, and then they deliver my pamphlets and the cookies together.
So you're basically in
I'm basically
Photoshop,
a
in design,
baker.
and then running over, whipping up some
baker.
cookies.
Some
I'm
lookies.
not, you guys, I'm not even joking. It was like that. Like
Wait.
I had to do all these edits and then go in the back room and make cookies. I don't really talk about this often.
That's
No,
good
that's
stuff.
perfect. That's what I'm trying to get. Okay, so
Yeah.
so you moved to Nashville for your dream job.
Yes.
And you end up making pamphlets and cookies.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you're sitting here. Tell me where your headspace is at when you're like, okay, I finished my pamphlet. Like, let me whip up this flour and get these cookies in. Like, tell me,
Yeah.
like, where's your headspace? Are you happy? Are you like,
Honestly,
this is kind of
no.
awesome?
I was so miserable, but I was getting paid so much. I bought a brand new car. I was paying off. I did all the steps to buy a car myself, and I was really proud to call my dad and be like, hey, I just bought a car. You don't have to worry. I'm paying it off myself. And then a month later, I got fired.
Tell me about that circumstance. So
Yeah.
you're just, have you decided at this point you're going to stay making pamphlets and the cookies because of the money?
I thought, I don't know. I didn't know what a normal job looked like. So I was like, oh, maybe this is it. And like, in the meantime, though, I was doing interviews for art directors and graphic designers at ad agencies.
Okay.
So I'd like fake being sick and like go to an interview and then show up the next day perfectly fine.
You would go.
Wonder why I got fired.
So you're interviewing. You're interviewing.
I'm interviewing, yeah.
While you're baking cookies.
While I'm baking cookies, I'm like setting up my
Gotcha.
interviews.
All right.
and then you get fired. Tell me about that moment. How you felt,
Especially
in that moment.
signing up for a brand new car payment and you're super proud and
was
you
so
tell
proud.
your dad and then you go, I got fired.
Yeah. So, so I remember they told me, they literally just said I don't fit in. They're like, you don't fit in here. And I was like, you're right. I don't, because I'm literally 21 years old and cool. And you guys are like, I don't know what's happening. They like wouldn't let us have like Halloween parties. I was like, maybe I'm brought here to spice it up a little bit. Nope.
It's like that Rachel.
So you
is just
tried.
too
Yeah, I
hip.
tried. I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance. Like, I'm gonna spice it up in here. No one was about it. So they said I don't belong there, and they're like, you belong in an ad agency downtown. And I was like, you're right. But I was so mortified to call my dad, because my dad is like the one person in my life that's like set me up for success. And I remember I sat in my closet in my apartment and was just bawling my eyes out, and I called my dad, and I remember telling myself, I'll never allow myself to feel this way again. And I'll always push myself. I'll always like keep going, and I'll never feel this type of failure again, starting now.
So you felt pretty low in that moment. Like that was like,
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, that makes me, think like your dad, like his perception of you and like how you're, basically becoming a product of what he taught you to be. Like you feel like this moment where you go, oh man, this isn't lining up.
Tell me about your dad.
Yeah. Oh, my dad's so scary.
Yeah.
He's British.
All right.
Yeah.
When a British man yells at you, you don't even know if you're right or wrong, because you're wrong.
Rachel.
You're wrong, no matter what.
Rachel, you did something very wrong.
That sounds like, that does not sound British at all. That was like Australian.
Rachel, you are in big trouble.
Put another shrimp on the barbie.
That is
That's
that is
Australian.
Australian
I
for
know.
sure.
I know.
for
That's
sure.
why I said. All right. So, but did your dad inspire you though? Like, is there somebody kind of like in your past that inspired you to kind of just start this road of pursuing?
So my dad was a professional soccer player and came to America with $1,000 a backpack and a soccer ball. And he's built this whole empire for himself. And he's always told me that no matter what I do, I'll never fail in his eyes. And he'll always like, I need to take all the risks that I could take, and he'll always be there. So he's like, no matter what, like do what you need to do, but I'll always be there when you feel like you're falling. Like I'm there to help you. But I never like wanted to get there, because I would like my pride, and I want to like shoot for the stars and like stay up there.
Well, that's kind of awesome. That's actually pretty rare to have a family member that is going to push you like that and say, hey, take as many risks as you can take, because we've experienced some flip sides of that where it's like, hey, just go get the normal job. Just go be comfortable.
Yeah, be safe.
Go make money, be safe. And so that's interesting that you had that push to be radical and kind of you're a product of it, right? Like kind of what you're doing now. So that's really interesting. All right, so you're back in your room, bawling in your closet. You call your dad and tell me about that conversation.
Okay, I told him, I said, that car that I just bought, I'm gonna need some help. And I was bawling my eyes out crying, and he told me to get up. And I was like, I'll look for another job tomorrow, like freaking out. And he was like, no. He said, don't take a job unless you're 100% with it. Like, he was like, I don't want you to do the same thing. Like, you weren't happy in this job, so like, don't take another one unless you're gonna be really happy.
Wow.
But I couldn't like, knowing that my dad was gonna be supporting me during that time, I didn't like that. So I started working for Title Boxing Club. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll get fit. Looking for a job.
Okay.
So I started working for them.
Which that's funny because we had an experience with you there.
Yes.
Working there.
I also
We
did.
filmed that episode.
Yes. I still work for Title.
Oh, cool.
So I don't work with them full time like I used to, but I do photo and video for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you tell yourself in this moment, I never want to feel this feeling of failure. And did you feel like you failed yourself? Did you feel like you failed your family? Who did you feel?
Yeah. I feel like I failed myself for sure. And I feel like I definitely failed my dad. And so that feeling like you failed yourself, I feel like, we can get through that. But like feeling that you failed someone else who's helped you and supported you your whole life, that's like a whole nother feeling that sucks.
What I think is really interesting about that, though, is that it sounds like your dad has continually reassured you that he's there.
Yeah, and I'm like,
But
nope.
But it's like, but because of the type of person he's cultivating you to become, like that moment actually comes, and it's like you almost begin to doubt what he was saying. But what you got to see was when you got vulnerable and went to him and said it. Like he reassured you. He put like shoe leather to the ground of the words that he spoke in your life. He actually showed you he was there for you no matter what.
Yeah.
And then allowed you to continue to move forward. And it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good one.
So I need to connect something really quick
Okay.
before we move too much further forward, because
Connect
you started off as a graphic designer and then baking cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And then you go over to Title Box and you're kind of like trying to get your stuff back together. At what point in that transition did you start getting into photography? Like, where did that connection happen?
Okay, so while I was at Tidal, they needed someone to handle their social media. And I was following this blogger, and I was telling my dad how I was kind of interested in the camera situation. And the blogger had some random, like, not good camera. But I was like, this looks nice. And he got it for me. My dad bought it for me. And he's like, oh, you're interested in photography? Here, let me get you a camera. And bought me a camera like ASAP. So I started testing it at Tidal Boxing and shooting our members, and then our members would hire me outside of the gym to shoot for them. And that's like kind of how it all started.
That's cool.
With no training, you just start
No
like
training. I
picking
was
it up
like,
and figuring it out.
I know I push this button and it clicks.
So you really
I'm
did.
gonna
You
do that.
you picked up a camera and you were like,
Yeah.
and you just watched what, YouTube videos or
YouTube
things?
videos. I had a few. I mean, I definitely had a lot of people help me and understand. But as far as like basic photography, yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I was
Well,
like,
I think that means that you were kind of born with at least like the eye of what looks good, you
Yeah.
know. And like the technical stuff, anybody can learn that. But I think it still
Right.
takes.
and I don't
an
even know the
artist-
technical stuff.
Yeah.
There's, like,
we like
so
to
many
say that we are still trying to figure things out,
Yeah, we
how to use these
are.
cameras. But I think,
Yeah.
the more importantly is just your vision and what you see artistically.
Yeah,
which
I
kind of
agree.
comes naturally.
I agree.
So you have no traditional training in photos, but you start doing photos, you start selling memberships. Am I wrong to think that you're also drawing murals or creating murals,
Okay.
or is that not yet in the
No,
story?
that yes. Okay, so I worked for Tidal Boxing for probably at the time. I probably worked there for like a year. And I was like, working the front desk, doing all their marketing, doing all their social media, dabbling in photo, kind of dabbling in video. And I meet this guy. Do you know Evan?
I know.
Evan
I know
Moore?
Evan.
yes.
Yeah,
Edgar Evan.
he's one of the nicest guys ever.
The nicest guy. He kind of puts me under his wing and starts helping me meet people. And I remember my very first music video. I was doing behind the scenes on this music video that Evan brought me on, and then a year later, that artist hired me to shoot her like single cover, and I was like just doing behind the scenes for free. But Evan is the one who told me I should make a mural, and I was like, that's crazy. Like I don't know how to do that. Like I literally know nothing about doing a mural, but sure. So we stuck into this abandoned warehouse. I spent about 8 hours painting a mural, and then I went to Tidal like that day to work my shift, and I had paint all over me and all this stuff. But I'll never forget the feeling when I stepped back and I looked at this mural. I think I cried because it was so freaking cool and good. And I thought to myself at that moment, like, I'm so much better than I think I am. And so I quit Tidal the next week.
Wow.
Is this
And
the
went full-time
mural?
freelance. Yes,
Okay,
the
I
wolf
thought so.
mural.
Yeah.
Let me
The
see it.
infamous wolf mural.
That's freaking awesome.
Dude,
It's
that
so
is
cool.
awesome.
I don't
I
think
thought
it
that
exists
was.
anymore.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either.
I
That's
know. A lot
sad.
of my murals honestly don't exist. They got
Unfortunately, a
torn
lot
down.
of them back from that time period, I feel like have kind of, for the most part, been covered up.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
That's great.
So, okay. So you dabble in photos. This guy takes you under his wing. You're at Tidal Boxing. He says, make a mural. You make a mural. And then you quit.
Yeah.
to-
Okay, so I told Tidal. Okay, I didn't like quit. First, right before that, I started working at 5 a.m. at Tidal to 1, so that I can do freelance after that. And my dad the whole time was like, quit, be your own boss. My boss at Tidal was like, if you don't quit, I'm going to fire you because you're so
Interesting.
much better than this. And I was like, I love being the front desk. Like, what are you talking about? And then, but after the mural, I was like, okay, you're right. I'm going to take the step. And I told Tidal, like, how about we make a deal? Like, I'll shoot for you once a month and you guys pay me on retainer so that I at least have this set $500 a month, like
Right.
set aside and can, work on my other clients. And I did. And my dad was really like, just do it. You got to take those risks and always be here if you fail.
So was that like a leap of? Was that like?
that was definitely my leap of faith. Yeah. That that moment. Yeah.
I think it's cool that people along the way were like, no, Rachel, like you don't belong here. Like this is,
I know,
you have
everyone
such
was
a
like, you
bigger,
don't belong here.
That's
I'm like,
great.
why?
And that's awesome though. You had people pushing you along the way because sometimes people try to like hold on to people that they, you know,
Yeah.
like having around.
I
but
wonder
that's,
if anyone from Little Lambs follows me on Instagram. They're like, how's her bacon
they're like,
doing?
man, I miss those cookies.
They're like,
I miss those cookies.
Rachel, you'll never be better than pamphlets and cookies. It feels like the way that you're acting is like you almost needed these people to give you that dose of like
Yeah.
you're better. Like you needed Evan to say, no, come make a mural. You needed your title person to say, get out of here. You needed your dad to say, be your own boss. Like, so was there some insecurity? Like,
Yeah,
I
what
know
was
people
holding
are,
you back?
because I know all the
So
time.
Today, I'm so insecure about it.
Right.
Like,
Still?
oh yeah, I'm an imposter. Every creative
Yeah.
is like that though. They don't think they're good enough.
Yeah.
Right. We
So-
deal with that all the time. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, you guys are killing it. And it's like, yeah.
You're like, totally.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. And so you still feel that way.
Yeah.
So how do you, when that imposter creeps up, what type of strategies do you like employ to like be like, no?
So I have to ask myself, and this is actually something recent popped up. This artist asked me to go on tour this fall, but I wouldn't be doing photos. I'd be doing strictly video. And I thought, I'm not a videographer. Like, I can do video and I'm good at it, I guess. But, like, I'm a photographer. And I kept thinking, like, I'm not good enough for this job. But I have to ask myself the reverse question. Why did they come to me? Because they thought I'm good enough. And they think that I'm worth this job. So I have to look at it from their point of view. Like, yeah, maybe I am then good.
Dang, that's solid.
Yeah.
That is some solid advice right there.
I know. Man.
That's why I'm like, why am I on this podcast? What I'm
Exactly.
not good enough to be on this podcast,
No.
but they obviously think I might be.
Hey, no, that was great.
Exactly.
Well,
No, this is valuable stuff because I think all of us struggle with that from time to time, especially myself. I make music and everything, and Austin is always pounding into me like, dude, this is so great. Like, why don't you believe in yourself as much as you should or whatever? But I'm always constantly comparing myself to other people, going like, I will never be as good as other people, but.
But maybe
that's not
okay,
true though,
but
and maybe that's okay. you
Maybe
know?
you're only good enough for your own like happiness and like you're content in that area.
Yeah.
Because like I'm like, well, I could be directing movies, but do I want to be? No.
Maybe not.
I'm
yeah.
chilling.
You're killing it right
I'm
now.
chilling right
That's-
now. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. With the people that we've had on over the past couple of episodes, like I feel like one of the most consistent themes is like people just like they've accepted a lot of opportunities and they just like, just networking and connecting with a lot of people is one of their most valuable reasons for success over the years and everything. And I just feel like saying yes to a lot of opportunities, even if you don't know what the outcome or the benefit is going to be at the time.
I always tell people to say yes.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. And that's how I got here
you shot your first BTS thing for free, right?
for free.
Why did you shoot it for free?
Because I thought that's what I was supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we
now
did.
I'm like, don't do anything for free.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done our fair share.
We've done our
right?
fair
We all
share.
have done our fair share.
Oh, it's a portfolio piece.
yeah.
I think there
For
is
exposure.
there is a time and place for that, but there's like you got to look at the opportunity under like the and I'm gonna butcher this, but David Perry told us this one time. He's a producer for a local studio, but it was like the opportunity needs to be either monetarily beneficial, strictly you can do something just for the money. It needs to be a relationship building thing that you are choosing to do that for, or it needs to be something that you know you're going to use as a portfolio piece to go get another client. You need to like make sure that if you're going to accept this, it has to be for one of those three reasons. If it's just because you're just like, well, I don't have any other opportunity, it's like, no.
Yeah.
But if you're going to tactfully use that opportunity to then grow that, I can see a reason for it. And we use that for ourselves. We actually, I think when we started out, doing stuff with Jake, I think we did stuff for way less than we should have, and then we ended up being able to shoot a music video for him, an official music video for him at one point. So we've taken that line, kind of as well.
So I'll tell you like my biggest yes girl story. I had a friend who was shooting for Dustin Lynch, and he asked me to help him on set. And he was a friend, and I was so tired that day, and I was like, I don't even want to go, but like he's my friend, so I'll say yes, and I'll go and help him out. So I went, met a bunch of people on set, and then after that, they were like, okay, we want to go to Red Door for a beer. And I was like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
But fine, one beer. So I go, I meet Maren Morris's photographer at Red Door, who followed me on Instagram. And then 6 months later, DM'd me to fly me out to Michigan to shoot Maren's show and Ryan Hurd's music video. And I'm not kidding. The minute Maren posted a photo that I took with my name on it, my emails, like that was probably the 360 moment of my career.
Wow.
Like I got all these emails to go on tour, do all this stuff, and I was like, "Oh my!"
Like
God.
like you're telling me that singular.
Like
Yes.
one photo.
Yes, you
Wow.
guys. I'm not even kidding.
And
Can I
you were
see-
and you were
can I see-
exhausted
can
to
I
even get there to even meet that person.
yeah, I didn't even want to go be there in the first place, and I'm like, I guess I'll just always go to Red Door for a beer. What's the guess of that?
Yeah, exactly.
I love thinking back into what was the singular moment, and it's like you're tired, but what I'm gonna just count it up to you're a good friend.
I think
That's
I'm
why.
a freaking good
Yeah,
friend.
that's why you made that decision. At this point, kind of where you have this that would you call that Maren Morris moment one of the bigger like catalyst moments?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
After that is when it really shot off.
All right, so you start getting emails. You start going like, what on earth? Okay, so this is the real deal now. Like, I have to figure this out. What are you doing? Like, do you have to
I'm
start
not
an official?
stopping.
Are you an official business? Are you just freelance? Or like, how,
Yeah. No, from there, I was like, let's go. And I think I just still like had these random little clients here and there. But I just went for it, and I started to go on tour with Bailey Bryan on the Chris Lane tour. And then that led to going into tour with Walker Hayes. And then because I met Chris Lane on the Bailey tour, Chris had me out a few times. And then that transitioned into Carly Pierce, which transitioned partially. It was like Carly Pierce and Maren, like kind of off and on. And then now I might be going out with Lauren Daigle.
Oh man.
So, tell me about this denim line then.
Electric denim.
Electric
How did this
denim.
get started?
Yeah.
Okay, electric denim happened because I found this really cool jacket at a thrift store, and I was like, oh, actually, no, I'm taking it back. I saw this really cool jacket on a website that was like $200, and I thought, I can literally paint that myself. So I went to a thrift store, found a cool jacket, painted it myself, posted about it, and then all of a sudden everyone wanted to buy it. And I was like, no, it's my jacket. Like, this is mine. And then my friend asked me to paint a jacket for her friend's birthday. So I did that, posted about it. And then all of a sudden everyone's like DMing me for a jacket. And I'm like, knowing me, like I turn all my hobbies into a business accidentally. My
Yeah.
dad asked me if I have a hobby, and I said no. I literally don't. He's like, I see you skateboarding, now the skateboard's for sale. And then I see you painting, and now that's for sale. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. So yeah, I started Electric Denim. So it's custom denim jackets that I paint. And I basically like kind of was doing it as a joke. Like, I don't know. I didn't really think it'd be anything. And then I made one for Carly Pierce, and she posted about it. And then I had 400 email subscribers.
Oh my
Oh
I
goodness.
was
my
like,
That's freaking
God.
awesome.
Now I really got to go for this. So
Wow.
yeah.
So tell me about that. So you make one for Carly Pierce because you had been on tour.
Tour, yeah.
Yeah. And she said, Rachel, I love those jackets. Give me one.
Yeah.
She posts about it. You had an email set up. Am I going to send them an email? What are you going to do?
Okay, so I made a plan.
Okay, perfect.
So
This
my-
is what I want to hear about.
Yeah, my plan was like, I'm going to release 10 jackets. They're going to be exclusive, one of a kind, never going to remake them, and just see what happens. So I did 10, and I had a party, like a pop-up party for it,
Nice.
and I sold out of my jacket.
And
That's
these
awesome.
aren't $20 jackets.
No, they're like 300.
300, but that's
Sweet.
still not even.
I know, I should do more, but I'm like,
if you see that,
You could do
that's
limited
insecurity.
edition.
That's insecurity.
I think you could have done $1,500 and done 10.
I know.
All right, so you do that once.
Yes.
Are you still doing this, or what happens after that?
Kind of taking a break right now, but I still do it. I've released 4 different line launches, so each have 10 each.
Okay.
10 line or 10 jackets each per launch, and yeah. And then I started doing like hoodies, and I remember it was like I could only get like 30, or they were telling me like, okay, you can do 30 hoodies, 75 hoodies, or like 100 and something hoodies, like for what's it called, wholesale, whatever,
Right.
bulk order.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, no one's gonna buy like I can't sell 75. So I think I did 30, and then I had to order 4 more rounds of that.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah, because everyone wanted them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So were
Yeah.
you? So at this point, I assume, like, to me, I'm going, okay, that's a lot of work to put into one jacket, and you're releasing 10. I'm like, did you ever think about, like, having them printed with your
Yeah,
designs?
but
like,
that's not cool.
okay, so you stayed authentic to painting them.
Yeah.
So you painted how many hoodies?
Oh, the hoodies were just my logo.
Okay, all right. I just.
Oh no, I'm not painting any hoodies. But it also goes back to my first art show. So I started drawing, and I made this skull, like a geometric skull, like a cow skull, and I put it on my door in my apartment. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna use this for something, but I don't know yet. And then a year later, I had this art show, and the art show was I had to sell 25 tickets, or else I had to pay the difference if I didn't sell 25. And I was telling my friend Colin that is impossible. No one's gonna. The tickets were $25 each. I'm like, no one's gonna pay $25 to come see my art. And I sold the most out of everybody.
Where's this art show?
It was called Raw Art. It was at City Winery, and it was called like Raw Artist. It was really cool. It wasn't just me. It was like a bunch of artists.
Right.
And it was honestly really awesome. But I sold over 75 tickets, and I had the skull print in my show. And Maren Morris, before I worked with her manager was there, saw the skull, and asked to buy the rights and put it on Maren's merch.
What?
Whoa.
And did they?
Yeah.
What?
That is super cool.
I
was
love
that?
the fact that
That was the best moment of my whole career.
I
Yeah.
love the fact that you just continue to just like, I'm not good enough for this, but you still say yes anyways, and you move forward. And it's like it's like there's uncertainty in front of you, but instead of like letting fear overcome you, you just kind of like step out there in a leap of faith, and you're just like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And then look what happens from that.
I know. That's crazy.
Some of the most unexpected things. And it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
that was a pinnacle moment.
Yeah.
And
think
if I would have
that
said
was-
no,
I know. And she posted, but I've never cried over any success I've ever had, and I cried in that moment. Like when she posted it and was like, new design by Rachel Deeb, and I was like, that's
wow.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I cried.
Is there a
cried in
reason
my
that
kitchen.
this one over anything else
Yeah.
as
I
a
think
success was more?
I think it's just because I was like, I remember looking at that on my door in my apartment 3 years ago, and now it's being sold all over the world, like on little girls wearing T-shirts with my design on it. Like that's
That's wild.
crazy. Yeah, I think it's just really cool.
So why? And I know you've expressed sometimes you don't know why, but what do you think is the biggest reason why, like, when you need to sell tickets, they sell, or you need to sell denim jackets, they sell, or hoodies, they sell? Like, is it the fact that you've built this Instagram following? Is it the fact that, like, where do these people come from when you're like, hey, I think I did this, and everyone's like, give me one?
That's hard. It's like complimenting yourself is hard.
Well, please do it on this
I
podcast.
think that I've worked very hard to prove myself to be a genuine person in Nashville. There's a lot of people who aren't genuine and kind of make friends with people wanting something out of it. And I've always told people, like, you have to say yes, you have to be genuine, and you have to make true friendships without expecting anything from anybody. I think that's very, very, very important. So I also think that Nashville's a really good community where they want to support small artists and like local artists. I think we're really lucky to live in a city like that. So yeah, I don't know.
No. So that actually meant, like, that spoke a lot to me. The idea of there's so much, especially in Nashville and all these places, it's like you got to get out there and network. You need to go find somebody that you can use to kind of boost your
Yeah.
career,
Leverage you
whatever.
up.
Leverage.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and go back to what Spencer said. So Spencer Combs.
Yes.
So he was on here, and one of the strategies that he said he realized at one point, and he's worked with the biggest artists, right?
Yeah, I was on tour with him with Russell.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's done, a lot of different things. But he said, I realized at one point, you just got to step down so that I could step up.
It was good.
It was good. It's a good moment.
Hit for him to step down so that he could step
Yeah,
up.
he
Yeah,
was in
like-
like this pinnacle moment of like he's got this company going this direction and he's got this other thing that he's got going over here, and it's like both of them are really amazing. And then it was like, no, like at that moment it was like I knew that I needed to step down so that I could step up in this other opportunity.
And he also used it in the context of like realizing like everyone is equal, but like I'm here, I'm just gonna be here to serve you people. I'm not gonna not trying to utilize. This was the moment because he said it on the podcast. Somebody had posted a photo of his or something, and he was thinking like, "Oh man, I wish I was tagged in that." And he like texted him like, "Hey, could you?" And then he's like, "What am I doing?" Like he's like,
I hate when people don't tag me.
"Yeah, I know, right?" And
I would have tagged them right away.
We all have. We've all been there. We've done the same thing. Man, why didn't they tag me? All this stuff. And he's like, why? Why did I? What was it in me that like needed that?
Well,
and
I think as a freelancer though, you do need stuff like that.
you do need it.
Okay, finish the story because I need to learn.
I believe he was basically like, man, it wasn't the idea that no, we all need that help. But for him, it was like the reason he did it was just kind of he felt was like for just like
it was almost a vanity reason.
A vanity
instead of
reason.
it being for a reason of I don't know,
Creating to create because you're passionate about it rather than
his motive switched.
His motive switched, and so for him, it was more of a gut check for him. It wasn't about like the business.
And
or
he had been
anything.
doing it for plenty of times before that. He just got to that point to where he's like, okay, that shift needs to happen.
Yeah, and so he kind of made that recheck of himself and kind of and this is all going back to just building these genuine relationships with people and not like expecting something out of somebody, and how that breeds just everything you wanted in the first place, right? Mm-hmm. Is people when they realize
and everything you didn't even know you wanted, but when you got it, it was just like, oh my god,
you got it.
It's so much sweeter when it's a much more real connection than it is like, hey, thanks, for doing this for me because I, have been trying to get you to do this for me for a long time.
Yeah.
It's way sweeter when you build that actual, relationship, and that's what boosts you. Is because they're probably hiring you just as much because you're a good person as you are an artist.
Yeah, more than anything, I would say. I mean, I think making these connections with these people and seeing them on like eye to eye and just being a good friend and being there for those people, like they want to be treated, the same way that they treat you and everything. And I just feel like you've made some amazing opportunities out of like just building strong connections with people that are in power, like, Maren.
Yeah.
And other people like that. And that's awesome.
Yeah. I agree.
Thanks for listening to the Three Cheese Podcast. If you're enjoying this content, then please subscribe, rate, and review. This episode was sponsored by our company, Mac and Cheese Media, a video company that creates scroll-stopping videos that drive results for your business. If you're a business owner that wants to accomplish your goals through video, then visit our website at macandcheesemedia.com. Now back to the podcast.
It sounds like you almost have a heart for helping other people who are trying to do similar things. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, I'm because I wouldn't be here if people didn't help me.
Right. So tell me about kind of that, where because you say I always say, and it sounds like you get asked to maybe get coffee a bunch or something.
All the
like,
time.
Okay.
Coffee all the time, and I used to take them. I don't anymore.
Right.
I'm like, nope, just call me.
Yeah.
Zoom call.
So
Bye.
that's actually an interesting thing because like it's awesome to say yes to like as many opportunities as you can, but are there points where you go like I also need to value my own time and my own sanity and mental health,
that is
as
something I
opposed to
struggle
like just like every person that reaches out to me I have to get
I mean, how many
with
times
them.
did I run into you guys at Edge Hill Coffee?
Yeah.
Like I ran into you guys like so many times
Right.
because I was always in coffee meetings. So I would always be that person that would reach out to grab coffee. I'd always pay for their coffee, spend time with me, whatever. That's amazing. And then now I've run into a lot of people who ask me to get coffee and they don't pay for my coffee. Oh. What the heck? I'm like, I'm not going to coffee anymore if you guys aren't paying for me.
Dang it.
Dang it.
No, you said that you struggled. You were just saying that you struggled.
Yeah, I struggle really hard with saying no.
Okay. So talk about that.
Another thing that I say is the power of saying no is just as powerful, if not more, than saying yes.
100%.
And you have to know the difference. And I'm still learning that. I'm really learning that. It's really difficult for me to say no because I want to say yes to everything because it's my job, it's my brand, it's who I am. And saying no to a client, I freak out and I'm like, oh no, if I say no, then they're never going to hire me again. They will. They will. And like, they almost respect you more saying no because it's like, I don't want to have to do anything, any job. Like I need time to make this job something awesome. But if I just schedule 3 people in one day to get everyone in, most likely that job is going to be at a 75%.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
I 100% resonate with that in the fact that I've been having to learn how to say no because I wasn't really good at it. And I think for me, it was almost like this badge of honor to just work really hard for people and to help people and like to be there for people and to support them.
Yeah.
And I saying no to me was almost like I was letting you down.
Yeah. And
It's like, we haven't even
Exactly.
done anything
I know,
yet. It's like,
"Oh, they hate me."
right. So, I mean, no, I definitely, I agree 100% that, saying no is way more powerful because I say no maybe 90 more times than I would say yes. But when I give them that yes, I am 100% able to show up 100% instead of being there 10% because I did all these other things that day before. And it's like, okay, well, I made this commitment now. I just have to show up. And it's like, they get the short end of the stick. But
You're
this
right.
way, by saying no all these times, then when I do say yes, my yes was intentional. And I'm able to go to that with a very like full version of myself, not regretting anything.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so powerful. Also, I feel like we skipped over the whole like thing when you said if I help people. I do help. I'm like, I don't go on coffee dates with
Right.
everybody, but no, I do. I have an intern, and she ends in like a month, so I'll probably have another one just to like take them on set and like teach them everything that and give them connections. But I do what I'm able to do that people did for me, but it's up to them to make those connections from there.
Wow.
Because I feel like on sets, like I would talk to everybody, and like not in a sneaky way, just like
Right.
introduce
Genuinely
myself.
connecting.
Genuine connect, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do without looking like a snake sometimes.
That's actually
'Cause there's
good.
been people on my set that's been like going up to Warner Music people and being like, "Hey, coffee tomorrow?" Ja? And then now they have all my jobs. It's fine, whatever.
No, that is an interesting gray area to kind of teeter on because there's some times where it's like, gosh, I have genuine reasons for this, but now I'm like thinking like, what are they gonna think when I text, hey,
Yeah.
do you want to whatever? And so that's always tough,
It's
right?
tough, yeah.
How do you? And sometimes you do have to just be like, nope, I'm gonna let this happen naturally.
Yeah.
Even if I want to reach out and say, hey, do you have any photography work? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So you talked about the power of saying no. We were just watching a podcast where we just talked about the exact same thing and how it's possibly the most powerful thing to be able to decide between no's and yeses. But I'm curious where your thoughts are because we in the past have realized that we have spread ourselves far too thin before because we said yes to too many things. Where have you found, because you get emails all the time, come on tour with me, make me a denim jacket, come skateboarding, come in a hot tub party bus with us, right?
Yes, I will be there.
Yeah. Where do you, how do you decide whether or not this thing is something you're going to say yes to or no to? And then what do you do when you have to say no to somebody? How do you handle it?
Well, like I said, I still struggle with this. So currently I'm already spreaded myself too thin for the next month. So I need to like go back and figure that out. But I try to say yes to people who I've worked with before, and because I always want to keep that relationship. And then I look at projects that come to me, and if I feel that it's like hard because I want to work with everybody, but I have to remind myself I can't. There's not 10 of me running around. It might seem like that. There's not. And I have to pick and choose who I work with. And if someone comes with me to a project, it's also like I might not be the right person for every project either.
Right.
They might think I am too, but I'm not. And so I have to really like dive deep in a project and decide right there, like, is this something I'm going to do for the money, or am I doing this because I'm passionate about this opportunity? And it takes a minute for me to look back like, okay, money will always flow, but you need to focus on like, is this something that's for you or not for you?
Yeah, so you're more interested in, so your no's are more rooted in your passion.
Yeah.
It's like, look, I'm not really, the money's not really doing it for me, but I would do this because I'm passionate. Or if it's like, that doesn't align with me and what I'm wanting to do, what I aspire to do. So you're like, I can't do that. I'm
I can do
sorry.
it, yeah. Oh, that like gives me anxiety even thinking about it.
So what do you do when you're confronted with that, when you have to say no? Like, how do you handle that?
Send a quick email and then run.
I was gonna say just off the top of your head, I'm a Belmont student. Rachel, I would love to get coffee with you tomorrow. I don't know if I can pay for it. Are you? What do you say to that?
I respect you so much.
I respect you so much in the work that you've done. I look up to you so much. Can you get coffee tomorrow? What are your what are your words? Because I struggle bad with this.
I would say, hey, I'd love to grab coffee. I'd love to get to know you, but right now I'm really busy. So if you want, you can send me any questions that you have in an email, and I'll respond as soon as I can.
Yeah, that's
good. Awesome.
That's a good take.
And you do
I like
respond
it.
in
And
an
I
email.
do.
Okay.
I always respond in email. Emails
Awesome.
I love. Phone calls, maybe, but in person, no chance.
So
There you go.
And yes, I am single because I don't have a time for a boyfriend
nice.
or to go on dates.
So you were just talking about, saying no and stuff. And what we've realized is how much of like a commodity our creative space is as a creative, like how literally it feels like there's just a bar in my head that's literally like, if I'm doing something that's not aligned with my talents and my passions and my creativity, it's like just draining. And then there's things you can do that's literally filling them up while you're working.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Would you relate to that in any way?
Oh, yeah. Well, the things that fill me up, honestly, my most favorite things is collaborating with other people. So one time I set up this Halloween shoot at my house, and I had like 3 models, and it was me and this photographer and this makeup artist, and we all just did it for free, and it was so much fun, and no one knew each other, and it was like so cool to see everyone connect together, and we're just doing things for fun and because we're passionate about it. In that type of situation, I'm like learning, and I'm feeling fulfilled, and it's all for free, and it's just because I'm passionate about that. So
And I would say that almost sparks your creativity back almost.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
I'm
my
like,
God,
should
this
I
is
start
why
a
I do
club?
it.
I almost started a club. I started a paddleboard club.
Really?
Yeah.
A paddleboard club?
Anyways.
That sounds
dope.
fun.
So
Yeah,
we've
I
talked
guess
about a lot of different things, a lot of different successes and stuff. Through all of these things, is there like any failure that kind of like sticks out to you that just, really is almost either gut wrenching, or it was just really hard, or it was a failure that, potentially led to a success? Like, do you have any moments like that?
A failure that led to a success. Interesting. Okay. Well, I have been fired another time.
Yeah.
I've been on tour with this one artist, but it wasn't, I don't even know if I'd count that as a failure, because that was like a really weird situation, and I was miserable in the situation, and that led me to go more on tour with Maren. I think honestly, so I'm not touring with Carly Pierce anymore this year, and that wasn't like, it was never like a conversation that we had about if I was going to go on or not. But to me, I'm like, well, obviously she didn't want me back, and then that gives me insecurities of like, why? Then Lauren Daigle asked me to go on tour. So, it's like when one door closes, another one opens.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
another, like Lauren Daigle is a whole nother genre. And I don't know anyone in that world.
Yeah.
So while I'm sitting here like, okay, well, maybe like I'm not going to go on tour this summer because I'm totally doing fine without going on tour. I don't need to go on tour. And then I kept getting in the headspace like, yeah, maybe I don't want to go on tour. Maybe it's my decision. And like,
Right.
Obviously it like hurts to like not be asked to go on tour. And like, so I don't know, that kind of made me like second guess a lot of things. Like, am I good then? Am I good at tour photography? Like, why didn't she ask me back? I'm going out with Maren too, but like, I don't know. I would think like, why isn't the Chainsmokers asking me to go on tour? Like,
Right.
what the heck? So yeah, I just have to remember like everything happens for a reason. Whether that is a failure or a success or whatever it is, everything happens for a reason, and it will always lead you into the direction that you're meant to go in.
Yeah.
So when those things take you down, you kind of find yourself, you pick yourself back up by going like, that's fine. I'm killing it in every other area.
Well, I look at
going
it,
on
I'm
there."
like, I haven't been on tour in over a year, and I just bought a house 2 months ago. So
Congrats.
thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I cry every other day because of that. It's a whole nother struggle in itself. Oh, thanks. I
Yeah,
love
you're
that. Yeah, I think that it's more of like being hurt, just an ego thing. It's like,
Yeah,
why didn't she ask
for
me so
sure.
that I could tell her no,
Yeah.
But then I'm sure once she asked me, I probably would have said yes.
Yeah. So you mostly work by yourself, right? Besides
Yeah.
when you're collaborating with other people, but when you, I don't know, when you mentally are stressed and everything, who do you go for, or who do you talk to for outlets? Because on a daily basis, we struggle with our own personal things and just as a business, but we have each other all the time. So like as a single person,
Yeah.
who do you like? Who's your person, or what is your like your go-to? What's your outlet? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have one. I don't know. I'm just like the type of person that I don't like to like talk about things like that with my friends because I feel like I'm burdening them. So when I am like stressed and I am like emotionally drained, I try to just do things for myself alone. And if that's like yoga, things like that, like I just try to like start a routine and like just, I think that's just like this independent side of me that's like, I don't need anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, therapy's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Therapy's nice to go to, occasionally.
I am curious though. We've like had some of these moments where whether it's been a monetary lull, whether it's been the psychological of wait, why didn't that client call us back? Like what's wrong with us? Like we've had these moments take us either personally or honestly as a collective whole into like a pretty dark spot, like a kind of a depression.
Yeah, we totally relate to that. Like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with us? Why did they not? Like, is it like, what did we do wrong?
But that happens all the time too.
Right.
Yeah.
And we like to share with people, or at least confirm that like they're not alone when you're killing it on tour with Maren Morris and you're selling denim jackets to Carly Pierce and you're going out with Billie Eilish, that there's also these times that you're alone in your house and you're just like sad. And that's okay. And,
all the
I'm not going to
time.
speak
I'm
for you.
sad all the time.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because you get.
I feel like we need to almost normalize this, and I feel like there's been way more movements of people talking about mental, awareness and things like
Yeah.
that. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I think we as humans try to project the best image of ourselves, and we don't want people to see this
Especially on
stuff.
social media.
Right, 100%.
So many people tell me, they're like, oh, you're living the dream life. Like on Instagram, you're doing this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, well, you actually wouldn't know that, like, I was in the hospital for 4 days straight, or I had a mental breakdown yesterday, and like all these other things that like we as humans go through every day. Like, I mean, it's hard to, I always remind myself, you can't compare yourself to someone's life on social media because, obviously that's never the case.
You always paint these pictures where it's like, man, they are just killing it. Like everything is going perfectly.
Yeah.
When in reality, we like, as entrepreneurs and just business owners and self-employed, there's just always up and down. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do you find that center when things don't go well with business? Mm-hmm. How do you not let that dictate your mental health? Because, especially myself and all of us, we just like, when things aren't going well, it's so hard not to feel it.
It's so hard not to feel it. But like, how many times is that going to happen in our career? All the time, thousands of times. And how many times has it already happened? And now look where you are. It's like, yeah, she didn't ask me to go on tour, but someone with 2 million followers asked me to go on tour. Or like little things like that. Or like I'll be sitting like at my desk, like my music video treatment again didn't get chosen, and then I look in front of me and I have these 3 framed awards, and I won for best photographer in the Nashville Scene magazine 3 years in a row.
Wow.
And I literally stare at that and I'm like, all right, get it together.
Get it together,
Rachel. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want me, cool, I'll go freaking kill it in my art project today.
You float in between all of these different things, and I feel like when you kind of like fall down in one area, you almost like jump over to this other one to kind of fill you back up creatively. Yes. And it's like, I don't even care about photography right now. I'm going to go do this art project.
I'm going to paint a skateboard.
You literally get into that. And it's like, I'll figure this out later. So you almost detach from it. And it's like, this is what's important.
Yeah. I always do that. I kind of realized that recently too. Like during the pandemic, I was like, well, photos aren't things. So I'm going to tie-dye hoodies. Did you guys ever see that? I tie-dyed like 2 months rent of hoodies.
It's like you
never want to do that again.
You basically you're like one of the only people I know that can do like what everyone had in like 8th grade as like their art project, but make it like a tangible, like legitimate business.
Like make it look cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Make it look cool. I never could make mine look cool. What would you say are the proudest moments that you've had? I know you mentioned the Maren Morris licensing.
It would be that. The merch that I got on, it would also be the winning that award 3 years in a row for best photographer.
Right.
I think that was really important and special to me because people had to vote for me. So it was like a reader's poll. So that means people actually voted for me.
Sweet.
What I also want to like talk about is like stop lowering these accomplishments in your life. You know, sometimes like we have like amazing accomplishments and then you're like, oh, it's nothing because you feel uncomfortable talking about it and like telling people, and then it just becomes another moment.
Yeah.
And now I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't remember all my moments.
We've
So
been
true.
talking about that today.
Austin's really good at going, and he actually encourages a lot of people to do this. So he's like, stop
Be excited.
and look back at what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, celebrate.
Or like, yeah,
It's like,
celebrate.
Don't worry about what's up
Celebrate.
here right now. Like, let's look back for a second.
Yeah.
You said earlier you were like you did that mural for 8 hours, and then you stepped back and you looked at the whole thing and you go, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is awesome!" Like, it's so often you get stuck in the daily grind and everything, and you might be doing something monotonous that you really don't want to be doing. But if you step back and look at everything you've built, it's like, "Wow, I've
Yeah.
created something awesome."
It's so true. And it's so hard to do that. It's so hard to be excited for yourself. So like I remember like when I got the Maren gig, I freaked out. I called my mom and then I was like, yeah, to all my friends. I was like, yeah, I'm Maren.
Yeah.
Maren asked me.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then when you don't get excited about those little things,
What are you
you'll-
doing
what
it
do you-
for?
Yeah. And then also like you forget to get excited. So the next thing that happens, you don't get excited because you're like, yeah.
It almost becomes a number at that point.
And
Yeah.
You almost
Which
become
sucks.
And
jaded.
yeah,
You
it,
should
well,
always
it
be like, there's
not
not-
only sucks, what I've realized is that if I'm not going to enjoy this journey, then what on earth am I doing it for?
Yes.
Because not everybody is going to go to Red Door, get the beer, and get the Maren Morris gig. They're gonna
so funny.
they're gonna go to Red Door, get the beer,
And then go.
and then go home, and then never get a call.
Maybe get a number.
Right, maybe get
Yeah,
an
there you
whatever.
go.
And even ours, like there's a lot of times where you're not getting the call, but if you can enjoy the journey of what you're doing, and then the times where you do get that, like really celebrate
Really
it,
celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then whether or not that thing that you've wanted to get happens, you're still like having positive experiences along the way and reflecting and having gratitude and all these things that help you enjoy your day-to-day life. Because if you set this high lofty goal and just sit there and go, well, I'll be happy when I make it there, that's going
And
to
then
be
when
a
you get there-
sad
And
life.
then, you get there
and you're like,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that gratefulness and that celebration opens you up for new opportunities. I truly believe that. I feel like, in your moment of, doubt, your moments of uncertainty, and it's like, okay, like, I don't know what's next. And it's like, I'm going to look back at all this stuff. It's like, okay, like, no, I can do this. And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna just say yes to some things. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna evaluate, and I'm gonna move forward. And it's like, it definitely sounds like you've had a few moments like that. But that those are very pivotal and important moments.
Yeah, I agree.
So you've done all this amazing stuff and are continuing to do it. What is success for you? Like when 3 to 5 years, whatever, like when you're thinking about like success or what is it for you?
So it's funny that you bring this up because I've had a lot of conversations on what does success mean to you. And I have realized that success to me has actually nothing to do with my job. And it has everything to do with my happiness, who I surround myself with, the relationships and friendships that I make in this lifetime.
Yeah.
It's a
Wow.
great answer.
So
All right,
it's very
mic
true.
drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's honestly truth. And but if you're asking me where I see myself in 5 years, I am hoping to become, which I'm already like in the talks of doing it now, a creative director for smaller artists. I feel like artists who are with labels, like they're not getting the attention that they need. And there's a lot of managers who are also faking it till they make it.
Right.
And there's so many times people come to me and they're like, hey, can you make a logo for this artist? And I have to say no because I'm like, I have never met this artist, don't know who they are, don't know anything about them. And you're asking me to brand them essentially. Like, no, like that's the gap that people are missing. Like in order to create a brand and to really give the attention that an artist needs is to do that whole genuine thing. Like you got to
Right.
get to know them and feel them out and see because a brand of an artist is just who they are already. I just help bring that out.
I love that you are so intentional and thoughtful behind that because it feels like a lot of that industry is so just like cookie cutter factory, get him in, see if he works, see if he streams, and then move him on.
Move them on, yeah.
And that like intentionality is what's going to make an artist successful because the fans feel that authenticity too.
Yeah,
When
I
they go to
agree.
the merch and they don't just see your freaking block text and your like weird big face on there,
Yeah.
you know, they see a cool, well designed that actually fits what the passion of the artist is.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that translates all the way through.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're still doing design. I guess I didn't catch that. So because I went to school for design.
Oh, you did?
Back in 05, and I have now ended up in video, and it's like I don't get to do it a lot, but when I do it, there's moments that I enjoy it, and then there's moments where this is just not me anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
I
you're
actually
shooting-
hate graphic design.
Yeah, no, I get
I
it.
actually hate it.
Love it, love hate it, love hate it.
I mean, you can only make so many pamphlets. Like you're done. No, I do like album cover design for artists, things like that, and I'll do merch design. You know, if I'm passionate and feeling it, but it takes like a lot for me to consider doing that. Yeah.
Is there anything that's made it maybe harder for you or certain loopholes you've had to go through being like a female in the industry and leading?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you speak on any of those or encourage?
As a tour photographer, there's very few females that do that. It's actually picking up more now, but there has been a lot of times where I haven't been able to get a job on tour because the guy's a male artist, and it's always like the wife doesn't want the girl on the tour bus, or he just wants an all male tour bus and things like that, and that's been really frustrating because I'm like, let me just do my job. Like I love doing this. Like let me just on your freaking bus. Yeah. So that's been a struggle, and just like proving myself in the industry. I feel like it's dominated, like with what I do, it's dominated by guys. But now I'm the director hiring all the guys who have to do what I say.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's nice. But I feel like, yeah, you got to be very careful. It's a very thin line. So I always say, like, I'll never like hook up or date anybody on tour because I want to set the bar high, the expectations high for females on tour, so that there's more opportunity for females to go on tour. 'Cause
Right.
There's always that other like, you know, rumor, like if a girl's on tour, they're going to do whatever, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So this creative director, is it what do you mean? Are you going to create a company? Are you working for another company?
I want to create a company and I want to hire people that do what I do.
So
now.
it's almost like you're not only like as a female photographer on tour, like, you know, setting a high standard, you're now going in at a completely different level, creating this creative director position where you're actually then putting out these other people. So you're stepping the standard up even more so. It's like, that's awesome.
Yeah. I got to run this place.
What were you gonna say, Rach?
Yeah, what was that? No,
Run this thing.
that's
Run
awesome.
this thing.
Well, we obviously, you know, totally respect you, and you are the first female that's been on our podcast, but you're not the only. You're not the only we're gonna have. So we super thankful that you decided to come on here. Okay, this is the last question, and then we'll talk, and then you can leave. But
Okay.
what would you tell others who have kind of wanted to start a creative business, but haven't been able to leave the pamphlets and cookie job or leave the job that they have that consistent income for because it might not provide rent? What would you tell these people who have that passion, who have that drive, have that artistic flair, but like haven't been able to take that risk?
Do it. Just do it.
Do it.
Just
Just
do
do
it.
it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Why not? I don't know. I would say, I mean, you could sit there and be comfortable at your job, make your money. I mean, anyone can do that. I don't know. I'm just like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you try? At least try. I don't know.
So they might say, but what if I try and then I don't get any jobs?
But what if anything? Like what? Yeah. What if?
Let's not live. My kids love this, but I'm like, son, we don't live in the land of what if.
No.
And I always get
do
the
it.
eye rolls like, sure.
Yeah. Well, because I would say, what if you die tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
what
What
if?
if you die? Yeah. What if you die tomorrow?
I promise
Then you
tomorrow.
never
No,
did
that's a good-
that.
that's a good
yeah.
point.
I think like a closing thing for anyone who wants to do this, and I mentioned this earlier, is say yes and be genuine and always make the most be genuine. Be a friendly human and never expect anything from anybody. But just go for it because again, you only have one life to live, so might as well do it the way you want to do it.
I think the people used to say YOLO.
YOLO. That's what I think you guys used to say that a lot.
You only YOLO once. So,
What do you mean we used to say?
I feel like you guys like started that.
We start. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we did actually start YOLO.
I think you're right. Actually, if I think back on the
and OMG and LOL.
Okay, that's what I thought when I like agreed to go on a hot tub party bus.
Yes, and for the people who keep wondering what this means,
Don't
basically, Austin and Colin which is our personality brand, did a review of the first hot tub party bus that runs down Broadway on the weekends, and we got in it, and Rachel.
And we got in it first before anyone else got
polluted the tub.
Make sure that's said.
We were the first people in that tub.
First people. Well, we like to kind of do a few closing remarks, and I just want to say, number one, thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring us by being on here, because you said you say no a lot, but you didn't say no to this.
Nope. I didn't.
So I don't know what that means, but I think I'm going to take it as this is somewhat valuable to somebody. Secondarily, just thanks for inspiring us that you can be your genuine, creative, artistic self and go make a living doing it.
Yeah.
You don't have,
cool.
Yeah, you don't have to, be like, well, how do I fit completely into this box? And then maybe I can make a business. You can be your true artistic self and find a way to make enough to survive.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I think that's awesome that you have said, I'm not going to look at like how people might look at me different because I'm a female, or how like maybe I don't get hired for this job because it's typically a male. I'm going to not only like not let that bother me, I'm going to keep pushing forward, but I'm going to like set a standard so I can provide opportunity for other people. I love how you are looking down to other people and say, hey, how can I be a genuine friend and a awesome person so that I can open that door for more people, whether it be a creative person or a female or whatever it may be. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. I love, I just admire your creativity and your passion for creating as a passion first and not for the money, it seems. Like, I think a lot of your opportunities have been like, I'm going to try painting on jackets, and that turned into a business. Like, it wasn't like, how can I make money selling jackets, whatever. You like made it, and you did it for yourself, like just to create, because as creators and creatives, like that fills you up so much. So it's like, I'm just going to go create and see what happens. And I think that's awesome. And you're killing it right now.
Thank you.
Keep going, keep moving. Don't stop creating, and don't stop believing.
I love that. Yeah. Don't stop believing.
Yeah. And I'll end with this is you're 26 years old. I'm almost 11 years older than you, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, dang, man. You're doing it, and honestly, it's because of the authenticity of who you are, and man, it's hard to find sometimes. And I just want to encourage you, man. Just keep on doing what you're doing, because you are blazing a trail, and it's super beautiful to look at. It's inspiring, and you're doing some really cool stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're proud of you. Thanks for being on the Three Cheese podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hopefully this isn't the last time.
Tub.
Hey, and if you ever need some video guys on your creative directed
Always.
shoot,
Always.
hey, we'll do that. We'll do it for fun. Like, I mean, well, hopefully, you'll pay us. Okay, good.
Don't
thank
worry.
goodness. No, but seriously, let's work on a project together.
Yeah.
Let's figure out one that makes sense, and let's go.
Okay.
Let's have some fun.
Let's do it.
Thanks so much for listening to the Three Cheese Podcast. We hope you really enjoyed this episode. Please rate, review, and subscribe on whichever platform you use to get your podcasts. If you have any thoughts or feedback, shoot an email to podcast@macandcheesemedia.com. That's macandcheesemedia.com. Find us on social @Three Cheese Podcast. We hope you have a fantastic day, and we will see you next time.